All right, this is Coach McCarthy. Sorry, we're a little late today. We're going to start four, and we're talking about credit. So, number one, explain the purpose and importance of credit. Well, credit is a very important thing that you're going to use going through your life. The main thing that you're going to use it for, right here, it helps you get the things you need now, like a loan for a car or a credit card based on your promise to pay later. So working to improve your credit helps ensure you'll qualify for loans when you need them. So the main way it'll impact you guys right now is with credit cards. So that's going to impact your interest rate, how much you're going to pay right now, how much you're going to pay on as you borrow. The other way that it really impacts you is when you're taking out a loan for a car or a loan for a house. And it impacts you because it determines that your terms that you're going to get. We talked about interest rate and what that looks like, but credit score has a huge impact on what your interest rate is going to be and even the terms of your loan and how much you can get a loan for. So I'm going to pull up a couple of these sites. I'm going to pull up that first one, Great Lakes. I'm going to pull up Nerd Wallet, and we're going to talk through a couple of them. I've looked at a couple of these before, and I believe I have them marked. We have Credit Karma, The Balance, Veterans United, and Simple Dollar. So I'm going to come over here. We're going to open each one of those up so we can talk through them a little bit. And a lot of them are going to say the same things. We're going to come back to those three here in the end. So let's go through the importance of your personal credit. So, like we talked about, buying a dream home, better insurance rate. Insurance companies consider your credit rating and determine your premiums. That one's kind of new to me. Receive an upgraded education. Your student loans are going to be a little bit better. Maybe your loans are going to get paid off a little bit quicker, and you're going to be able to invest. Maybe you can buy some real estate. You can buy some different things. So I'm going to come back to this. This is talking about reporting agencies and types of credits. So we've talked about revolving credit, something that you can get every month. Service credit, arrangement with a service provider for electricity, cell phone, water, heat, or even a gym membership is considered a service credit. So with your cell phone, I think they do check your credit to see if you have to put a deposit on your phone. At least they used to. And same thing for your utilities, your heat and your water, your electricity. Some of those will check your credit to see what your credit score looks like, and they might make you put down a deposit. So it talks about establishing your personal credit. So start locally, department store, credit union, community bank, someplace where you can start getting your credit going in the right direction. Good thing here, don't take out too much. You don't want to have a whole lot of credit taken out. You don't want to have too much out so that you can't pay it. Keep your balances low, which we talked about with your credit card. Make sure you're paying things off. So we'll talk about how to check your credit report. And we'll talk about how to close accounts. It can be good if you close too many, or can be bad. I'm sorry. It can be a bad thing if you close too many accounts too quickly, if they're not open long enough. And in this one right here, we talk about always pay your bills on time. So those late things, those go on your credit report. So if companies start pulling your credit report and see that you've been late 20 times, well, that impacts what your interest rate is going to be, what your loan is going to be, and whether or not they're actually going to give you any money. You can't have a cosigner on the loan. You can have a family member or something sign on the loan with you. So we were talking about co-signing a loan. You got to be very careful with this. It says you can ask a friend or family member to help, but their name goes on that loan with you. So you got to make sure that you're going to pay it because you don't want to bring someone into a bad situation with you. All right. So not a bad article. A lot of things that we've kind of already talked about. We're going to check out. So this is from The Balance. We've looked at their website a couple times. So 5 reasons for keeping a high credit rating. So credit can affect where you live. Yeah, it can. Before you buy a house, mortgage lenders want to know what your credit's going to look like. Low credit can be your loan could get denied or could have a higher rate. So it could determine what kind of money you have available to buy your property. You might not be able to live where you want to live because you can't afford it. Auto loans, which we've talked about, you're going to have to get an auto loan if you're going to buy a car. And lenders are going to look at your credit. They're going to see what it looks like, see if you can pay your bills on time. There are some people that do check your credit report as part of the hiring process. I've seen this on a couple jobs during my life. Not as commonplace as it might have been at one time, but there are people that will run a credit check to see what you look like as an employee. If you're going to take out a business loan, if you're going to start a loan, you're going to have credit. Living expenses, sometimes your utilities. We'll check to see if you have good credit. Most utility services conduct credit checks, including cable, telephone, water, even cell phone service providers. Yes, they do. All right, and like we talked about, cell phone, AT&T was big about checking your credit to see if you had to put a deposit down when you were buying a new phone, or if you could just walk away with the $20 if you had to pay a part of it first. And you will need good credit to live comfortably, just in case you need to take out money along the way. So a lot of the same things we've talked about already. So good website here, The Balance. All right, so we'll come here to Credit Karma and talk about why is it important. I think we've touched on this a lot, but it's something that you're going to need. All right, you're going to need credit going through your life. And it says, why do you need it? Well, you need those loans. You're going to need loans to take out to buy bigger purchases like your car, your house, those things that you can't afford right off the top. And good credit, those are going to impact your purchases, what you can and can't get, how much money you can and can't take out, and what your interest rates are going to look like when you do take it out. And there are risks with credit. You don't want to be taking out a whole bunch of money that you can't pay back. You want to take out more than you can afford on your monthly payments, or that can fit into your budget. So you want to make sure that you're not putting yourself upside down. Looking at NerdWallet here. All right, so this next website that we looked at, Great Lakes. So they talk a little bit more about student loans, which is something that you'll learn a little bit more for most of us as we're going through school. So installment loans, a set amount of money loaned to you for a specific purpose. All right, common examples, we talk about student loans and auto loans. Revolving credit is our credit cards and our line of credit that we can come back to. Got to be careful with the interest rate. That's what they're going to charge you. All right, and some of them have fees. With credit cards especially, be careful. Annual fees, transaction fees. There's a lot of fees, and a lot of these will hit on credit cards. So be careful when you take out a credit card. Understand what it's going to look like. Credit limit is the maximum balance you have, what you can take out. So what we get into talking about is that there are your credit report, all right? And that's going to give you a number, and that's called your credit score. And those are determined normally by three main places, and that's going to be right here: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Those are the big three credit reporting agencies. Now, they all have their own little formula and their own little score, so it could be a little bit different. And credit reports are used to generate a credit score. One of the most commonly used credit scoring formula is Fair-Isaac's FICO score. So that is the most common one, and that's what you'll see the most. And it ranges from 300, which is low, to 850, which is high. The higher the score, the more likely you're going to get approved for credit. All right, that means that you're probably a little bit better. So what they look at is your payment history, any amounts that you owe, how long you've had your credit for. The longer is probably going to be the better. If you have any new credit, and what type of credit that you have. All right. So with your credit card, and this gets more into your credit score, you have hard inquiries or soft inquiries. All right. Soft inquiries occur when your credit report is reviewed when you're not looking to open new credit lines. So a hard inquiry is going to hit your credit score and can impact it. So every time a potential creditor accesses your credit reports and scores, it's recorded on your report as a hard inquiry. Too many hard inquiries can show potential creditors that you are attempting to open more than one line of credit, and they may choose not to loan you your money. So this is what we talked about. Be careful with just looking into a whole bunch of loans and taking out a bunch of loans. You don't want these hard inquiries on your credit report because that's bad. Right? And we want to try and have good credit. So stay away from late payments. Bankruptcies are bad. Foreclosures, collections, all those things are going to put you into a bad situation with your credit report. And they're going to give you a lower number, which is going to in turn give you a higher percentage rate. All right, so always pay your bills on time, keep low balances, and monitor your credit report. You will get into student loans if you're going to school, and we'll talk about that just briefly because it was on here. You do get a little bit of a grace period after you graduate, and then you're going to have to start making payments. All right, and we'll get into those a lot later. So the last one we're going to look at is going to be NerdWallet. All right, and they're going to talk about why your credit score is important. And we've talked about this a lot. Your score does matter. We already talked about the FICO score a little bit and some examples here of how that's going to impact your credit. All right, and those are going to be your interest rate that you're going to get hit with and what it's going to be. And we talked about our three credit bureaus and how they're going to come up, how they're going to figure out what your score is. So they're going to dictate your score, and then you're going to have to go from there with your loan. So how to get good credit. Again, paying your bills on time. That seems to be the number one thing with credit. That's probably the most important thing with credit is to make sure that you're paying in time and paying on time and try and pay in full. All right. Don't carry debt when you don't have to. All right. And you can maintain. Make sure you're looking at your credit score. You can check on it. It's free to check it. There's a lot of apps that have free things. My bank has a free app to check it. And when you have good credit, do good things with it. All right. Don't take the first offer. If you're going to be looking for a loan, make sure you're taking advantage of your opportunity. All right. So as we were saying, there's three main ones. There's Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So we'll start with Experian here. And this is one of the companies that runs your credit. All right. So make sure you're looking at these. They're going to talk about how it works. So we've looked at, you're going to get credit. You're going to get money that you have borrowing limits, balances, interest rate. Make sure you understand that when you're taking out your loan, what your interest rate is going to be, how long you're going to take it for. All right. And all this is going to go into how much of a loan you're going to get. So different types of credit, revolving credit, like a credit card. We have charge cards, ones commonly issued by retailers for use exclusively in their establishment. Don't see these a lot. Charge cards are relatively rare these days. They are. So back in the day, my mom had a JCPenney's charge card. You could only use it at JCPenney's. JCPenney's gave her credit. Service credit, your contracts with service providers such as gas and electric might charge you a deposit. Okay, they're going to look at your scores just the same to see what's going on. All right, and then installment credit, where we're paying a monthly payment. All right, you're going to need credit to make those big purchases. Landlords are going to look at it. Insurance companies, utilities, everybody's going to look at your credit. All right, so make sure it's in good standing. Make sure that you're taking care of it. So again, there's the three big ones: Experian, and this is TransUnion, and they talk about your credit report, how to get it, and we're going to talk about those a little bit later in some other units. But again, you're going to need credit trying to buy those big purchase items. And the third one that we have is Equifax, and your credit is who you are. All right, so you can get a free credit report through here, and we'll come back and talk about how to check your credit and what it is. But I think we've beat the horse enough about what credit is and that you need it to buy those big items.